You want to know who I am? Folks call me the Bone Man. Ain't my real name, but it's the one that stuck. Tonight on Requiem Radio, we take you deep into the Carpathian Mountains, a place where ancient bells still ring, and the wind sometimes carries more than just a chill. A place where forgotten music, ghost stories, and cursed compositions come back to life. This one is called The Witches of Bald Mountain.
They told me not to climb the mountain after dark. Not because of wolves or weather, but because of what danced there. I was a composer, a rationalist. I came to that tiny Carpathian village to collect folk melodies, superstitions, material for a new orchestral work. What I found was not folklore. It was a living, breathing nightmare. The villagers wouldn't speak of Bald Mountain. They called it the Devil's Spine. They crossed themselves at its name. When I pressed one old woman for answers, she gripped my wrist and whispered, "They dance when the bell tolls, even though it broke 100 years ago." She meant the old Abbey Bell legend says it was forged to drive off demons. But in 1786, lightning struck the tower. The bell cracked, and the witches' Sabbath returned to Bald Mountain. Mussorgsky wrote about it, Night on Bald Mountain. But I always assumed it was metaphor, myth, until I heard it played by the wind itself. I shouldn't have gone up there, but I did. It was Walpurgis night, April 30th. I climbed alone, my only tools, a notebook and a small tape recorder. I wanted to capture the sounds of superstition. Instead, I recorded madness. At midnight, the world fell silent. The trees, the wind, the animals, all gone. Then came the shuffling. Many bare feet on stone. I crouched behind a boulder and saw them. Women dozens pale as bone, hair wild, clothed in tatters. They circled a stone altar, chanting in a language I couldn't recognize, but could feel vibrating in my spine. Then came the music. It started as a pulse in the ground, then erupted Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain, but raw, savage, not orchestrated, summoned. The mountain itself seemed to play it. Then he appeared, Chernobog, 10 feet tall, horns curled like ram's eyes glowing with molten hate. He rose from the altar center like smoke. The witches fell to their knees. He lifted one hand and the music changed, darker, wilder, like Mussorgsky's original score. The one too terrifying for audiences. The one Rimsky-Korsakov corrected. I tried to run, but something found me invisible. It knocked me down, I couldn't move. I felt its breath, ice cold, centuries old. A voice said, "You've heard the truth now. Remember it." Then I blacked out. When I awoke, it was dawn. The witches were gone. The altar was just mossy rock. My tape recorder was smashed. But my notebook, it was filled with music. I hadn't written notes and symbols beyond my understanding. I left that village the same day. Now, every April 30th, I lock my doors. I play Night on Bald Mountain to drown out what's really out there. But some nights, when the wind is just right, I still hear the bell that hasn't rung in 100 years.
You've been listening to Requiem Radio. where music bleeds into the supernatural. And that was the witches of Bald Mountain. Witches, music, madness. Was it a dream or a symphony from the other side? The only way to know for sure is to follow the shadows. But I wouldn't if I were you. Ain't gonna be no mo tonight, y'all rest easy. And don't let the dark drive you home.